All right, so this is the video that everybody's been wanting me to watch, the 2025 developers update for the month of July. Well, here we go. We haven't seen this video whatsoever, so all of the reaction you guys going to see here are 100% genuine. And on top of that, I'll be giving my feedback and my takes basically on everything that goes. But well, anyways, this is the July 2025 dev update video that we have not seen, and let's go ahead and jump right into it.
Welcome to the July developer update. I'm your host, Katie, and I'm here with Dan, JR, and Joel, and we're going to walk you through what's coming out in Season 9. So let's talk Season 9. That's going to be coming out at the end of this month. Super excited for that. And to kick things off, we're going to have in the Season of the Banner, capturing the flag. JR, do you want to walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so we previewed, we did 2 previews of Capture the Flag. One of them.
Season of the Banner, chat, because we're not getting anything else other than just the Capture the Flag OPRs, okay? That's the first thing I'm gonna say. They're like, listen, we just gonna give them 2 OPRs for Season 9. Let's call it a day, and let's just call it Season of the Banner, all right? We're not gonna call it Season of the OPR because, well, you know, I think that I'll think it will be too direct.
Just ended, I believe, when this airs. Yeah, so we have 2 separate maps. We're gonna launch CTF with both maps active. They'll be on an hourly rotation, much like our other modes have been. Yeah, so you can look forward to capturing.
What the fuck was that I showered, dude?
Flags as your day-to-day activity in the activities menu. Yeah, some things I guess that we are changing based on the preview was primarily we had some changes to the way that the buffs work. So they're going to be a little bit more effective. And we some other random changes.
Those are the buffs that you're running around and getting, right? Like that you're running through, they pop, and then you get the...
Yeah, so like the haste, the damage, and the other one.
They were not bad. They were not bad. I really liked them. The buff, there were 30 second duration for the damage buff on a 20% increased damage. They were pretty good. You could actually tell the difference in damage. It was quite tremendous. And yeah, you will get them on the left side of the map. I mean, on the new one. On the ice one, you get one on the left and one on the right, if I'm not mistaken.
Health, the healing one. The healing one is the other one. Yeah, they're gonna be. Yeah,
the healing one now gives you like a flat out 10,000 healing, and the haste one lasts like 5 seconds, 4 seconds, something like that. Yeah, the buff that they did to the buff, it was pretty substantial.
All better. So each one got a buff, and we buffed the buffs, and yeah, they last a little longer too, like the haste and the damage.
Nice. So day 1, minute 1, players can hop in and they'll get one of the 2 maps, and that's going to be on a rotation moving forward.
Yep.
And then also on day 1, we have Summer Medley Fair.
Yep.
I do hope, and listen, I know that Capture the Flag mode is the new mode, and the old OPR, it's the old mode. Now, please do not just put the Capture the Flag for like the first month or the first 2-3 weeks, and don't let us queue for the other ones. Because whenever the new OPR came out, right, in the Coral Divide, and we were able to queue to the old OPR, and we were forced to play the new one for like a solid... For how long we were forced to play the new one, Chad? For maybe like a whole season almost, dude. It felt like a month or 2 months long. And I did not like that. And honestly, also, they should not split the queues into Capture the Flag and normal OPR. They should put all 4, you know, battlegrounds together. The 2 Capture the Flag and the 2 Outpost Rush. You queue for battlegrounds, and whichever one comes up, that's the one that you're gonna play with, okay? I don't want them to now be separating the community between Capture the Flag and the normal OPR, because the community already is not big enough. It should be completely random. And if some of you might be like, Trick, that doesn't work. What if some people have a build for this and some people have a build for that? Well, they give you plenty of time to change. Like, deadass, they give you plenty of time to change. And another thing that they should allow the players to do is to queue for multiple things at the same time. Okay? They should allow us to queue for arenas, and they should allow us to queue for battlegrounds at the same time. And whichever one comes first, that's the one that you take. Okay? And if you're in an OP, if you're in the moment you go into a battleground and you get out of that battleground, then you should have priority for the arena queues because you've been on that queue for a very long time. To allow people that, you know, are not wasting their time on queue. And now, while you are joining that arena, guess what you do? You queue for OPR. And vice versa. And you're always queuing for something.
Summer Medley Fair is coming back. It will be running throughout all of Season 9, a little bit longer than normal. You can look forward to all of this same stuff. We have a few updated rewards in it as well that we hope you get to go and chase. I think this is the first time for console players as well in this event. We're also adding actually a few world bosses into this as well.
How many are left? I generally want to know how many are left. If you're watching this video and you're a console player, can you please let me know in chat? Say, I'm a console player. You're very good looking, Trick. Something along those lines. But yeah.
Well, I think the first time you're going to see world bosses for Admiral Black Powder, for the Empress, and then the Mammoth boss will also return in Season 9. So there'll be more rewards to get.
So they're adding the two new open world bosses that are the dungeon bosses, but in the open world. I think this was an incredibly wasted opportunity for them to just create a brand new NPC and put him in the open world. I understand that he's super lazy, but they didn't even have to change the mechanics. They could have left the same mechanic, just change the NPC, you know? Just change the NPC, because it doesn't make any sense that the NPC that is in the dungeon is also outside. And then the version that is in the dungeon, it's easier than the one that is... Like, it makes no sense. It really makes no sense.
And some of the existing 725 gear from those world bosses as well.
Nice. And then, I mean, at least for the first part of the season, however long it takes me, I'm spending all that time kind of getting everything I can on my activity cards to keep my season pass popping. So what are some of the things that we're super excited to see on the season pass in Season 9?
I'll jump into that first.
All right, here we go. Season 9 and season pass information. This is what we've been waiting for. Let's get it, baby.
I've said this a few times, I'm a bit trolly when I play the game, so one of my favorite things to do is jump into emotes. I really like this Valentine's Day outfit we have. It's got these big heart ears. And I wear it around town, and like I was using the Night Veil, like creepy crawl.
By the way, that has to be one of the ugliest skin in the whole game. Dude, that skin is so goddamn ugly.
Emote, but there's a newspaper bonk emote, and I'm gonna run around town and hit people with a newspaper in that outfit because
does it
it's
do
fun.
Damage though?
I don't think it does, but I'll have to double check.
They have no. KT knows exactly what she's talking about. Because if we do damage, that means you can use it as a finisher, like the table flip. Bro, if they have a newspaper bonk, like, you know, like bend over bonk, you know what I mean? Like you hit your dog, or you hit like your cat with it, or like your infant child, like a bonk with a newspaper. That would be hilarious. Yeah. They need to add more finisher emotes, like table flip and the finger guns to finish people on the ground. Those are by far the best emotes in the game. If it does damage, I will buy it. If it doesn't do damage, I won't buy it. That's why KT is the director of New World right meow, chat.
Well, that will be the next.
But it's
next iteration.
It's fun to get into weird outfits and just run around town and mess with people and just to see their interactions and see if I can get voice chat with people. And I've gotten it a few times, so I enjoy those types of things.
So what's going to happen is someone's going to wave at you and you're going to bonk them with a newspaper?
Yes, while in the Valentine's Day outfit, because that's the best outfit.
Nice.
JR, what are you excited about on the season pass?
I'm super excited about the Fleshbound set. Because I want to look like this horrific, disgusting thing and like run around.
Chat, this is why New World skins are all fucking shit, dude. we have this guy over here saying that the ugliest skin in the game is the best looking skin in the game. And then you had this guy over here saying that I want to look like an abomination. This is why all the skins are ass. Oh my god, dude.
I didn't do that one.
I think they just fucking trolling the community, bro. I think they, you know, the freaking skin department's like, yo, bosses, what are we gonna do? And then you have this guy, look at him, right? And then you had this guy. These two guys are partner in crime together, right? There's like, you should know what you make. They just having fun. Good to see. Yeah, no, that's funny. These two guys are. Yeah.
It's what dreams are made. Okay, so Fleshbound, I love that.
Yeah.
Dan, what's on the season pass that you're excited to work toward?
Well, I really loved the artifacts that we came up with for the PvP seasonal server.
Nice.
And it's going to be awesome to see one of them come into the main game in the form of the Crescent Wave Greatsword, which is not quite as, it doesn't make quite a statement as much as your choice, JR, but.
I hope that it's not the same one that we had, bro. Because the Crescent Wave Greatsword was the most broken shit in the game. That thing was ridiculous. What they need to do is that Crescent Blade cannot hit with two heavy attacks at the same time. Because what was happening is the Crescent Wave with one heavy attack will send the wave forward that will do the same damage as a heavy attack. But if you hit somebody as a melee range, you will hit them with a melee attack and the Crescent Wave melee attack. Right? Meaning that you were hitting people with a greatsword in onslaught stance for like 8 to 10,000 on every single heavy attack. It was like 4,000, 4,000, or 5,000, 5,000, or 6,000, 6,000. And it was insane. That thing, I was one-shotting people with it, and that was by far the best PvP weapon of the whole PvP server.
I'm still loving that
cool.
I can shoot Zelda things at people, which is great.
It's the light beams.
Yeah.
I can shoot Zelda things. Oh, this motherfucker was playing Breath of the Wild. Oh my god, dude. He got the Sword of a Thousand Truths, and he was just holding that A button, sending Crescent Wave forwards.
That, you know, you might have remembered from the Conqueror.
Master Sword, by the way. Master Sword.
Items in the seasonal server. It was in season 7, right? Season 7, seasonal server, yeah.
And for anybody who's not just absolutely in love with the Fleshbound armor set, I am very excited to see Transmog Tokens return to the season pass. My girl likes to get outfitted in all the coolest and latest fits, so can't
like Fleshbound.
Okay.
A little bit like that, but not at all.
Moving on. Okay, so say I'm a PvE player and I join during season 9. What does my day look like? What am I doing?
PvP player, you said?
PvE.
Oh, sorry.
I know that you're one-track mind over here from our combat lead.
So, like I said, Summer Medley Fair is starting in the event in season 9. You'll be able to jump in, go catch your sternum. I can't say that word.
Eternum sturgeon.
Anyway, catch the fish.
Eternum sternums. Oh fuck! Eternum sternums.
Catch the fish. Save the world.
Catch the fish. You're gonna go do fishing for Summer Medley Fair. There's the dance. There's the maudlin bugs for musical instruments. You'll be able to collect a lot of different cosmetics. Get some fish trophy in there. Beyond that, there's the world bosses, which have some pretty consistent. I think it's 715 gear, so you'll be able to get those things as they show up, and that's repeatable. And each of those bosses will have one 725 piece of gear, which is unique items that those bosses might have dropped in their specific expeditions. So you'll be able to chase those items. That it will be top tier 725, or at least good based on what they were from those bosses.
Okay.
So those are two of the big things for this season for PvE. Beyond that, we have a couple small little updates. The perks in season that were introduced in season 8 are going to have a few more places that you can obtain those. So that should feel a little bit better. We know that that was a little bit tight on how to get those.
And what he's referring to is the perk like Sundering Stacks, the Alternator, and the other one. The one that you put on the chest piece, the one that you put on the weapons, and the one that whenever you do an ability, you do 10% more damage, and then whenever you do a basic attack, your ability deal. Yeah, you know which one I'm talking about, right?
So now it should be a little bit more relaxed. You should see a little bit more, and those prices should drop for those. And then also we have the Gorgon weapon schematics being added to the Gorgon raid.
Right.
So you'll be able to get those weapons now from patterns, and then crafters will be able to make those as well. So that's another thing to chase too.
We also have 3 2x refining and weapon XP weeks throughout the season.
Yeah, that's right. So people can catch up on their trade skills and
If you're not already, yep.
If you're not already there, which there's, you know, a few people that aren't. So it's definitely exciting. And we'll get, see, JR, we're going to get to you.
I'm waiting for it.
So if I'm a PvP player, what does my day now look like in Season 9?
I'm glad you asked. So yeah, we talked about CTF already. Actually, one thing that you didn't mention at the start, and I think it's a big beat, is the new arena map is also coming out for real in Season 9.
Right.
It's gonna be.
I didn't get to play the new arena map, chat. Was the new arena map really freaking cool? Visually, it looks amazing. Visually, this place look really, 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 really cool. Jules says the world bosses are easier as they have no mechanics to them. They just have a much higher health. Again, I feel like they could have, the world bosses could have been they could have a much better implementation. They could have gone with something completely different. They could have literally just go all out with those world bosses. Just make it fun, make them OP, make the whole server come to do it, you know, and just have solid rewards, making them the same as the dungeon bosses. To me, that feels a little lazy, and I wouldn't done that. I hate the bosses 1 week each month, and then it disappears for the rest of the month. Yeah, I don't agree with that either. In my opinion, what they probably should do is have the world bosses every weekend. So people don't want to, you know, if you put something so limited on 1 week like that, then people will not want to miss it, or people will feel bad for missing it. Plus, it makes no sense. Why would you just have it on 1 week and then not have it for the rest of the month? That means that everybody's just going to do it like crazy on that week 1, and then for the rest of the month have basically nothing to do or nothing to look forward to. Or shit, you guys have, at this point, how many world bosses you guys have? You guys have a couple or several, you know, if I may say. You guys could have a different boss every weekend. Every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, a completely different boss, so people are looking forward that next week. Because if you have a 1 weekly boss and you kill it, now for 3 weeks, nobody has anything to look forward to. If you put the same boss every single weekend, the people that did it on week 1, they wouldn't want to do it on week 2 unless they didn't get the items they wanted, or you know, they want to do it with an alt. But usually in those 3 days, people will get what they want. And then you always have people looking forward to that next weekend reset. And that way you have people looking for 2 type of reset. People are looking for the dungeon resets, which people still look forward to every single week. Every single week, people come to the stream, or people are asking, yo, what are the 3 mutations for this week? What are the 3 mutations for this week? Because every week changes, right? It could be like, yo, what is the world boss for this week? Yo, what is the world boss for this week? And that way, people have a different rotation of dungeons on weekly basis, and people have a different rotation of world bosses on a weekly basis. Super simple. You guys, the 1 week a month, it's kind of absurd. And honestly, I don't think one person in the entire community likes that idea or that implementation.
Part of the rotation as well.
Super exciting, yeah.
So we're going to have 3 arena maps now in the rotation. Yep. Also, we made one change to the timing of the Ring of Fire, because the whole point of that map was, you know, it's our biggest arena. What we were seeing was a lot of the matches didn't, even though the fire ring was coming in sooner, a lot of the matches, it still wasn't a factor. So we're going to bump it up even further. So it's going to happen like 30 seconds into the first, you know, each round.
Okay, so basically they're making the circle come in even quicker, because it seems like what they're saying is like, even though it was closing in from the beginning, it looks like people were already dead before the circle even closed in. So it seems like they're making the circle closing even faster and even quicker.
Yeah.
So
Another
Get wrecked.
Yeah, get ready. Ready for some
yeah,
other
get ready,
valuable.
I mean.
Get ready. Yeah.
get wrecked.
In
Get ready to get ready.
addition,
Katie said, get wrecked, dude. That map is massive compared to the other ones, Drake. All right, I cannot wait to try it. I actually cannot wait to try it. Season 9. That one's coming in Season 9.
Correct.
Yeah,
so we have
get
some
wrecked,
other.
Phoebe.
Yeah. What?
Don't worry about it. Keep going.
So other cool things, the FFA Zone. That's something that we shipped in. Was that in Eternum?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's all the way back in Eternum, right? For season 6. So we're going to be making some changes in there. Some interesting new mechanic that we added called the Scallywag's Curse. And the way it works is basically the longer you're in the zone around other players, you start getting stacks of this curse, and it reduces your outgoing damage and increases your incoming damage as well as stamina damage.
Oh my god. Oh my god. We recommended this a while back. Oh my god. You guys remember? You guys remember when we were brainstorming on stream? We were brainstorming on stream how the hell can we avoid, people grouping on the PP island? And the best thing that we could come up with was, if they're close to each other for too long, make them do less damage and receive more damage. It's that simple. I know that we will never be able to prevent people from grouping and people from doing shit together, but the longer they are together, make this debuff a stack. So whenever they're focusing only like one person or they want to hit each other, yeah. That is actually really cool. I mean, that easy musket duo. The thing is, again, chat, you will never be able to prevent teaming in the PvP island. Why? Because it's just a normal human, thing. The people will always find a way to cheat. People will always find a way to win. People will always find a way to have the advantage. People will always try to go for the path of least resistance. It's going to happen. We cannot 100% prevent that. But at least we can make it more difficult for the people that are actually trying to do that. And I'm completely and 100% okay with this. Completely and 100% okay with this. Now, that is all cool and stuff, but the main issue of the PvP island remains, and that is rewards. If they don't make the rewards of the PvP island rewarding, then it does not matter how much they balance this place, it will remain shit forever.
And so the idea is, like, if you're kind of rolling around in packs, you're going to have to be aware of this. Is like, it, kind of puts you at a little bit as a disadvantage.
So you see, they don't even want people to stop teaming because, again, it's just a natural thing that is going to happen. Just be aware that whenever you are teaming, you will be at a disadvantage as opposed as before. I'm not saying at a disadvantage overall. I'm saying that you're going to have some debuff on you, that is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. As a solo player myself, I find this to be tremendous, meaning that now I have a higher probability or higher chances of beating or winning that 1vx, right? If 2-3 people show up at the same time that have been together, then now I wonder how far away this debuff is. You know what I mean? How much of a distance it is.
Maybe helps with some of the grouping up potentially. But we're going to play with it. Like, there's actually a lot of like configs we have for it that we can change, like, things like range and whatnot.
Oh, hell
so
yeah!
Keep an eye on it and see
Nice.
how it does.
Nice.
But the reason why you'd want to go back to the FFA zone is because we actually took all the rewards. We doubled the amount of doubloons that you're getting in the zone. All the chest interacts are take half as long as they did before.
Okay.
And then we also did a pass on all of the rewards coming from the doubloon shop.
Oh.
And, we increased all the max gear score and min's gear score, so you're going to get better gear overall, and you can go all the way up to.
And the well grew in size, as you can see. They increased the gear scored, and they also increased the size of the well. So the well got bigger, the items got bigger, and the rewards got bigger. Yes. I don't know if he mentioned it, but they should also put more artifacts in here. They should start coming in here and dropping artifacts.
725 more easily. So
Nice.
There's one other hot topic in the world of PvP.
just like combat changes in general.
Haste
Yes, haste.
Yes.
That's true.
Haste.
Yeah, so haste
I wonder how much they're gonna nerf it. All right, here we go.
has become an issue. We've been like introducing probably too much haste.
Too much haste, yeah.
And what we've seen is it's leading to issues with like hit registration, and it just like messes with a lot of our combat, especially like melee attacks and whatnot. So we actually did like a whole pass where we reduced haste across the board. We reduced like the amount of haste that you can get from status effects in general. The cap is like 40%, where it was 50% before. So you're going to see a lot less haste in the game in general. So I hope everyone enjoys that, because I know there's a lot of complaints.
All right, no, listen. I understand. I understand what you guys are saying. So they nerfed the maximum haste cap from 50 down to 40%, and then they nerfed the amount of haste that you get from things that. So what I think is going to happen is everybody's gonna go from running at 50% haste down to everybody's gonna be running at 40% What do you guys prefer they reduce? The duration of the haste or the potency of the haste? Honestly, then removing stacking would have been a better change. Yes, Fresh. Then removing stacking and then having a maximum of 30% would have been the best thing ever. So they're reducing the potency. So you want the potency to be reduced, not the duration. Haste might as well say 50% of the melee attacks auto miss. But I mean, the majority of the people with the haste are melee players, bro. Melee players have so much goddamn haste. But I mean, either way, melee players get affected by haste. Ranged players also get affected by haste. You know how hard it is to hit somebody that is running at 30-40% movement speed without aim lock blunderbuss? If potency is nerfed, that will affect things like Loquacious, and they will. No, it wouldn't though. If potency is reduced, that means that the speed is gonna be less. But the duration remains, meaning that a Loquacious punishment will be, you know, as good as it is now, if not better, because, well, the enemy is moving slower, but it still has a haste, because all you need for a Loquacious punishment to be effective is for the enemy to have a haste. I wonder if they're going to remove the movement speed of Berserk. I just copied Destiny. You can't have the same percentage buff, debuff stacked with each other. For example, you can only have 120% haste, but if you want more, you gotta get a higher percentage or a lower percentage. Stacking shouldn't be a thing. Right, that's what we were saying, Meta. One of the ways that we could fix this issue is that only the most powerful haste is active on you at any given time, and make haste being maximum 30% stronger. Like, for example, the trap from the musket should be 30% movement speed, but you shouldn't be able to go to 40% and 50% with like the speed thingy, the speed cakes from OPR, and something else like having the roll of the musket, right? You know, the roll of the musket gives you 10%, then the Sapphire cake gives you another 10%, and the track gives you 30%. And then if you put alacrity on the amulet, or you run with a wing leather shoes, right, then you have all of that speed almost infinite. So what you can do is only the strongest haste effect active at any given time. So if you have a 10% and you get a 20%, that 20% is active until it expires, and then it drops down to the 10%. If you have a 20% and then you get a 10%, the 10% doesn't override the 20%, right? But then if you get a 30%, and that doesn't mean that it should get rid of the other ones, right? It should apply for that duration. Like if you have a 10% permanent haste, for example, because you use the Sapphire cakes, and then you get healed by a healer that gives you 30% movement speed for a certain duration, you get that 30%, and then after the 30%, you drop down back to your 10%.
It's about haste.
Yeah, absolutely. So those complaints didn't come from a lot of the people using it,
yeah,
or abusing it.
Yeah.
So there's going to be, I'm sure, some folks that feel how much slower they are in some, like in Outpost Rush or in the FFA and all these areas where they're coming up against other players. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to hear the feedback coming out of this. And like you mentioned,
what if you were squishy as fuck when hasted? So Maldeagle, the other thing that we came up with is that let's rework the Loquacious punishment and perk. And let's make the Loquacious punishment work. The more haste you have, the more damage it deals, right? So basically every 1% of haste, it's 0.5% of damage, okay? So if you're running at 30% movement speed, Alacraceous Punishment is going to be doing like maximum amount of damage, right? If you're running at a little amount of increased movement speed, Alacraceous Punishment is going to be doing less damage. So essentially, the faster you are, the more damage Alacraceous does.
Like, we have a lot of stuff across the game on configs, which is our way of changing certain things within the game that we can, you know, flip as needed. So definitely players should continue to reach out on our Discord and in-game feedback and let us know, you know, what's working for them, what's not, and why.
Oh, and also we have 3 new artifacts that we're introducing for Season 9. In addition to, we're also reworking some, and those will be in the patch notes for details. But just to talk about some of the new ones, there was Crescent Wave, which you mentioned, and then there's the Hammer of Yeet, which is based on Yeaterson's hammer from the Conqueror's items.
So the Hammer of Yeet is coming back, and so they're going to have to think that yeet people away. They have the blunderbuss that yeet people away. They're gonna have the Hammer of Yeet. They're gonna have the Crescent Wave. Now that all sounds pretty cool, but are we going to remove some of the grid, right? Because who the hell is gonna be using the Yeaterson hammer when all of the big bruiser boys that are in the middle of a clump have permanent fucking grid with 300 constitution and spamming left click? You know what I mean? So it's really cool that they added this artifact, but at the same time, the main reason these abilities are not used, like Blastshot is not used in war very much, Cleared Out is not used in wars, you know, pretty much. It still helped in a war sometime. But that is the thing. In my NG, whenever one ability only works sometimes, right? An ability should work every time you press it. Now, it all comes down to the enemy dodging the attack or you using it in the wrong place. But if you use an ability and you hit 5 people and all of those 5 people were left clicking because, well, that is just how you play the game, and then none of those people got fucking yeeted, then that was a massive waste of an ability. A point tank could use it and yeet who? The other point tanks? You know, like, we need to remove grid from the game. I'm not saying fully remove grid from the game, but I still believe that light attacks should not have grid. Grid should be reserved for only heavy attacks and certain abilities. And then people be like, well, Trey, what the fuck? But then we will never be able to do any attacks because all of the fucking staggers. Well, let's fucking remove staggers while we at it, right? If the reason you need permanent grid is because there's 300 fucking staggers, then let's get rid of some of those staggers and let's get rid of some of that grid, right? In my opinion, Path of Destiny should not have a stagger. Path of Destiny should be in a slow and exhaust and a damaging ability just the way it is. Let's remove a stagger from Leaping Strike. Let's remove stagger from an insane amount of fucking melee abilities that don't need stagger, right? That way, you now don't need to have permanent grid. Because whenever you have permanent grid, not only it gets rid of a bunch of fun gameplays that people could be having around the game, you know? It's just that it makes so many builds and so many weapons obsolete simply because of one simple action, which is just left clicking, you know, and have grid. You fighting against a sword and shield rush is grid. Upheaval is grid. Freaking Bing Bing is grid. And then they left click is grid. And then whenever they're not attacking, they're blocking, you cannot do any damage. The new grid potion, healers drink a grid potion and they can fucking dance the fuck! They can dance in front of you on top of the goddamn sacred ground, and then you cannot see them, you cannot do anything to them, alright? Upheaval should not have grid 100%. It should not have grid. All of this grid it's fucking absurd. Absurd.
So it's like, and
then you have Berserk, which it gives you permanent grid for the whole fucking time. And then you use Berserk, you go like, your brain drops on the ground. And then you go forward and you're just like, I'm a fucking god. Dude, all of those staggers, a bunch of staggers, let's get a shit. Leaping Strike does not need stagger, okay? Leaping Strike is, that shit is already like a fucking hit scan ability. Right? It's a stagger. it deals massive amounts of damage. On top of that, it slows you by quadrillion%. It increases their damage by over 30%. It's an ability that is a range ability. You can use it to engage or to disengage. It has sort of like a low cooldown, especially if you're using Upheaval. God damn, dude. Too much grid and too much goddamn staggers. Yeah, but how does melee stay relevant versus range Kai builds if the CC does not exist? I did not say CC does not exist, okay? And slows. Melee already has a bunch of mobility and a bunch of slows. You know? Reap, bro. Reap is insane. Reap, it literally fucking rips you in. It slows your movement by like 50%. And then it brings you back. You have charge to get in. Any melee attack, it slows the movement of an enemy by 50%. And again, I'm not saying that you should remove a stagger from every melee weapon in the game, but there's a lot of weapons that should not have stagger. We should get rid of at least 1 to 3 staggers from the melee weapon. Treat once all melee nerf and buff the fire staff. I don't want the melee nerf. The melees are perfectly fine. Melees have been dominating this game for the whole motherfucking time. And they constantly keep gaslighting the community and the developers into thinking that the game is run by ranged player. It's not really the fucking case, bro. The game is not run by ranged player. It never has. It never will be. It never has been. And stop getting gaslit by the melee community, bro. Melee community is busted as fuck. Spirit is busted as fuck. Flail is busted as fuck. Sword and Shield is busted as fuck. Hatchet is busted as fuck. Rapier is busted as fuck. But you need to be good. Which, unfortunately, it's a thing that a lot of people don't have. Alright? Great Axe, busted as fuck. Warhammer, completely underrated weapon. Busted as fuck. All of the melee weapons are incredibly fucking good. Incredibly fucking good. Am I gonna say that the ranged weapons are not good? No, I'm not gonna be a hypocrite and say that the ranged weapons are not good. Every weapon in New World is good. So what we should do is stop fucking complaining. Alright? Stop complaining that melees are too strong or too weak. Start complaining that range is strong or too weak. You know, you're just bad at the game. Get better. Every build is good. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, there's a lot of builds that get completely fucking... that are completely irrelevant simply because some mechanics exist in the game. In my opinion, you guys have to know if you notice, a little bit ago, we have a dot meta. Everybody complained about the dot meta because nobody wanted to wear Vigor, right? Nobody wanted to wear Vigor, so everybody complained about the dot meta. So what happens? Then people started wearing Vigor. The developers nerfed the dots, and now dots are completely irrelevant. Dots are no longer a thing in the game. You know, you remember like at the beginning of the game how dots were irrelevant and then they buffed the living shit out of dots so they will become relevant, and then people complain about the dots becoming too relevant, and then they nerfed the dots so they became irrelevant, and then they buffed Vigor and this is some rise so they become extra irrelevant, and now nobody gives a shit about dots no more, and eventually the people that complain about the dots got what they wanted, right? So Vigor, remove it out of the game, and the dots, balance them accordingly. All right, if there's too much dots in the game, well, let's not make a perk that gets rid of every fucking dot. All right, that's not a very fucking smart idea. How about we just nerf the dots accordingly? All right, let's look at the numbers. You guys, the developers, you guys are constantly looking at the charts and looking at the numbers. If a weapon is doing X amount of damage with dots and is doing X amount of damage with ability, and that weapon was not intended to be dots, then nerf the dots. If that weapon is doing too much dot damage and is doing too much ability damage, and that weapon was intended to be a dot-oriented weapon, then nerf the ability damage, right? It's not fucking rocket science, and it's not rocket surgery. Okay? Dots became irrelevant. We should not have perks in the game that makes an entirety build or gameplay or weapons or artifacts irrelevant. Look at the burnt potato. The burnt potato, bro, the burnt potato had literally 15 minutes of fame. And then after the 15 minutes of fame, it got hit by the paparazzis and it ruined its whole life. Nobody even thinks of the Burninator anymore. It essentially happened the same thing that it happened to that mommy guy. The pretty guy that was the main actor of The Mummy, he was very popular for like 3 movies, and then he disappeared. Nobody knew what happened to him. The same thing happened to the burnt potato, right? If you're gonna go for a perk, for a build that deals a lot of like CC, knockback and stuff, but then you have people that are just pressing left clicks and they're completely immune to that build, how is that fun? You should never, ever, ever negate a build completely at 100%. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, that build should always be strong. What I'm saying is, the rock, paper, scissors of New World should come from classes countering each other, not perks countering each other. Because whenever you have perks countering builds, you can now create one class that counters a lot of class. Because you don't have to change the class, all you have to do is change the perks, right? If you're playing against a fire staff, all you have to do to counter that fire staff is drink a fire absorption potion and then put a couple of rubies on your gear. Drink a Desert Sunrise. Now that fire staff will do no dot damage, and that fire staff fire damage, at least 50% of its damage is gonna be completely freaking gimped. So you're now countering that guy. And then if you're gonna go fight against you know, like a sword and shield guy, then you put on a bunch of freaking moonstones, and now you're countering that guy. So you have one build that can fight everybody just because he changes the clothes that he's wearing today. That, in my opinion, I don't agree with. We need more class identity in New World, right? A sword and shield should not be able to counter every single class in the game just by changing the gems they're wearing, right? No, a sword and shield should counter caster, but then an archer should counter the living shadow of the sword and shield, and then the caster should counter the archer. Not because of the perks they're wearing, because of the way that the class and the perks have been designed. That is my take. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I went a little bit too far with this. But that is my opinion when it comes to class balancing. Get rid of all of the vigor. Get rid of all of the invigorated. Get rid of all of the freedom. Get rid of all of the protection gems. Get rid of anything and everything that completely negates one build. And then balance those builds accordingly. Right? If you get rid of the vigor, let's then balance the debuff, the dots. If you get rid of invigorated, let's balance the debuff. If you get rid of freedom, then let's balance the CC, right? If you get rid of grid, then let's balance the staggers. And once you get rid of all of this shit over here that is making the gaming so incredibly complicated to balance and super hard for a new player to understand, whenever you're a new player, new world, you're like, oh my god, bro. So you're telling me that vigor counters burning, acid, and all that, and then you have invigorated that counters ren, anti-heals, and this, and then you have freedom that counters slows, roots, and stun, but not staggers and not knockdown. Like, it's just so fucking much, bro. It's so much whenever a new player needs to understand all of the things that are designated to counter another other thing in New World. No, bro, that is super fucking complicated. A new player should not have to read an entire encyclopedia of the game to start having success in the game. And the thing about New World is that success in New World PvP combat comes from you having an incredible amount of knowledge about the abilities that every player does, because you already need to have an incredible amount of knowledge, knowing, because every person that you fight is a different completely fight than any other person, even if they're using the same weapon, because they be using different abilities. So not only you need that amount of information, but on top of that, you need to now have a fully chess mindset of what perks you're having and what perks the enemy's having. So you need to understand if the perks that you have counter the perks that the enemy has, and if the build that you have is just too much. It's just too much. Let's simplify this whole balancing thing. All right, let's simplify it. It's way too fucking complicated. And whenever you are forced to wear 4 vigor, or whenever you are forced to wear full rubies on your gear, and whenever you are forced to having all of these things on your gear mandatory, it's not fun. It's not fun. It really is not fun. People complain all the time. How do I counter fire staff, Trek? Fire staff is too fucking strong. Bro, just wear rubies. I don't want to fucking put on rubies just to counter the fire staff. then what the fuck do you want me to do, bro? You complain about the fire staff, I give you the solution, but then you don't want to do it, right? You see, let's get rid of that fucking problem. All of the gem should be something that finishes your build by either adding critical strike, critical damage, leeching, movement and speed, ability cooldown, get rid of refreshing on the gear, you know, balance the abilities accordingly. And then every perk that we put on the gear, player actually has a choice. Make every single perk dynamic. Make every perk just be fun, something that enhances your abilities. Not fucking for refreshing, not for invigorated, not for vigor, not for freedom, not for all of that bullshit. And then at the end of the day, do you really have freedom when it comes to a build? Because in reality, most of the time, you barely have freedom for one perk of your choosing. You're like, oh my God, where am I gonna put that perk? Well, I cannot put that perk there because of my helmet. I need to have refreshing, mighty gabble, and enchanted ward. But then on my chest piece, I need to have fucking leeching path of destiny, mighty gabble, and fucking enchanted ward. And oh my God, on my glove, I have to have the same fucking thing. You know? And then on my ring, I have to have hardy mandatory. And then on my amulet, I have to have a slash protection and fucking health and stamina recovery mandatory. And then at the end of the day, where is the player choice? Players don't have a fucking choice. We really don't have a fucking choice. And everybody ends up wearing the goddamn same gear with the goddamn same perks. Look when Frigid Dawn came out, bro. Everybody and their mother and their grandma and their unborn children were using the Frigid Dawn set. Where is the freedom of choice? There is none. We have very little freedom of choice when it comes to gear. And we have very little freedom of choice when it comes to gemming. It's ridiculous. For real, get rid of Hardy and just make dodge cost 45 stamina. We could make so many different changes. We could get rid of Hardy and make light and medium be 45 stamina and heavy be 50.
You know, yeets back your opponents. It's going to be super good in CTF, just like the Blunderbuss artifact we did in Season 8. And then, what are you laughing at?
I'm just imagining the chaos it's going to be.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's good there.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because we have pits, right?
Exactly.
We need more maps with pits, right?
Yeah. No, that ass. No, I know they said it as a joke, but we need more fall damage in New World. The new map, the one with corruption, there should be some corruption pits somewhere in there that you can just fucking throw people in there.
That's what I...
There's so many options that I would love to replace Hardy with. Yes, Meta, 100%. 100%. Let's get rid of all of this mandatory absurdity of of perks. This oversaturation of mandatory fucking perks that we have is absurd. It's absurd. It really is. It really is. Sword and Shield Hatchet, Light Beal are fucking wild strong. That Poopy Throw is devastating. Medium is even more scary because Light Sword and Shield, at least you hit them one time and they fucking go running. You know, you chunk them for a lot. But a medium Hatchet, Sword and Shield, that motherfucker has the same mobility, twice the amount of armor, and the same motherfucking damage. They're using the stupid Sandworm Boots that gives him a constant 20% of movement and speed. And they just wilding out there, dude.
Been saying
I miss when fall damage killed you.
Yes. Let's bring fall damage lethality back. For those of you that don't know why fall damage and lethality was removed out of the game, let me explain to you how that happened. Back in the day, whenever teleporting used to be expensive because the developer wanted people to be running around the world, not constantly teleporting. So what people used to do to avoid that, people were just kamikazing themselves into the pits, just killing themselves so they could teleport freely across the map. So AJS was like, oh shit, so people don't want to pay our teleportation fee, so they're killing themselves, so let's take away the fact that they can kill themselves by jumping off of a cliff. But now teleporting is not even teleporting is free 90% of the time, and it doesn't even matter the cost but we still have non-lethal fall damage. In my opinion, there will be nothing more satisfying than being like on a chest run or something like that, and somebody is on the top of the wall, and you come in with a Yeeter Sun or Chaos, and you push them off of the fucking mountain, and they you see them. Dead on the floor. Oh, that would be so beautiful, dude. It's beautiful. That would be beautiful. That would be beautiful. Now, if you're being chased by 5 people and there is a giant cliff in front of you, ironically, the best thing that you can do to save yourself is jump off the cliff. Because jumping off the cliff, if you have 5 people behind you, gives you an innate advantage. Why? Because you are the first one to land, meaning that you can start already either running away or wait for them to land. The moment they land, you already know how much health they're gonna lose, and the moment they land, you can fucking hit them. And you can kill them the moment they land, because they will land and then do the tumble animation forward that is not an iframe. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, bro. It's absurd. The person that falls off of the mountain first is the person that has the advantage.
Probably the only person.
Wow, that's a hot take.
I mean,
That's
it does
a
have
hot
that,
take.
so like,
Takes all kinds.
yeah. Yeah, and we also have another one called Plague Herald, which is interesting because it adds like disease to your opponents.
Wow.
So it'll be good for countering some of those, heavy healing situations. So.
But I mean, not when everybody's wearing fucking vigor, bro. Again, you see what I mean? Like anything that they add that is like a debuff or is like a dud, then the community will be like, oh, I don't care about that because I can simply counter it by using these 2 things. You know what I mean? Any new dot or any new anti-healing or any new thing that is either a debuff or a dot that they bring into the game, it will be completely counter and dead on arrival, because all you have to do to counter any sort of dot is 1 or 2 vigor and Death is Sunrise. And if you wear the Jin head wrap, that's it. You're completely immune to it. And if you, dude, and yeah, that's not even counting just wearing Jin from the get-go, you know? How broken within the Greatsword artifact will be outside of the PvP server? Incredibly broken if they don't fix it. What about also removing healers from 3v3 arenas? I don't agree with removing healers from 3v3 arenas. I think healers in 3v3 arenas are completely fine. What they need to do is add a rank mode for 3v3 arenas. And that might be a hot take that healers in 3v3 arenas are completely fine. But most of the time, the reason why healers are so hard to kill in the 3v3 arenas is not because they're really powerful. It's because the 3 DPS that in the opposite team, they're having 1v1s with random fucking people, and none of them are actually focusing the healer. I can count with 2 fingers how many times the DPS has stopped fighting on top of the sacred ground to go focus the healer. 9 out of 10 times, the team that does not have a healer dies fighting on top of the enemy sacred ground. They see the enemy, they go, they do their entire fucking combo rotation on top of the enemy sacred ground. They died, they're like, fuck healers, fuck this game. Good luck killing a healer with a brain. Get back to me on that one. But at the same time, good luck surviving 2 DPS with a brain. You know what I mean? Because doesn't matter how good a healer is, if the 2 DPS have a brain, that healer is fucking dead, bro. 2 DPS with a brain is way more scarier than a healer and DPS with a brain. Because one thing that a healer and a DPS and a brain cannot do is one-shot somebody. But 2 DPS, oh my, dude, you can die on the floor. One spear that is very well coordinated with somebody else can kill you on 1 leg sweep. Leg sweep, your bitch ass is dead.
Yeah, look forward to trying those out. Some other things to mention, I think. This was an interesting thing we did with the Flail, because like the Flail was a weapon that we introduced a long time ago, back in season 3, like with Rise of the Angry Earth. And it really, it has been like the least used weapon, like pretty much the whole time.
Yeah.
But it's not in terms of balance. The reason why the Flail is the least used weapon is a term of visuals. It's not a visually enticing weapon. Everybody always wants the flashy thing. Everybody wants the cool things. Everybody wants the nice looking things. That's why daggers is such a, it's a weapon that will always attract a lot of people. Great sword will attract a lot of people. Dual wielding pistols will attract a lot of people. Glaive, scythe, dual wielding blades, katana, anything that is a cool fucking concept of the weapon, that will always attract people.
Kind of has an identity crisis because when we were developing it, we were trying to make sure that it wasn't, when paired with like a tanky weapon like sword and shield or.
Speaking of identity crisis, can we speak of sword and shield identity? What is the sword and shield identity right now? Because I cannot, for me, sword and shield does not have identity. Sword and shield is the everything weapon. The sword and shield is I identified as whatever the fuck I want to identify. And I'm good at everything. If today I feel like being a tank, today I identify as a tank. If tomorrow morning I identify as a bursting assassin, I'm the best bursting assassin in the whole fucking game. If the day after that I identify as fucking Speedy Gonzalez, nobody's gonna catch me. Like, what is the sword and shield identity? Sword and shield is a liberal. Sword and shield is woke. Melee, tanky, DPS, assassin, mage, tank, support, junk. Like, what the fuck is sword and shield?
A healing weapon, you know, life staff, that it didn't like overly, you know, get out of hand balance-wise, right? So we had to tone it back in both aspects, like the tankiness and the life staff, because we didn't know if you were going to pair it with those. Yeah. But now we've introduced something where actually we're buffing it in the cases where you don't pair it with a life staff, for example. If you don't pair it with a life staff, it's actually going to do 15% more healing. And if you don't pair it with heavy armor, it'll also do an additional 15%. So, nice. Yeah. And then on the damage side, if you don't pair it with a shield, it will do 15% more damage.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna kind of try this out, see how it feels to pair.
You guys want me to be honest with you? Flail is already an incredible fucking weapon. Flail, it's already an incredible fucking weapon. 30% increased healing and 15% more damage is not. Yeah, that's gonna be wild. That eruption is gonna hit people for 10,000 fucking damage, bro. Flail does not need more buff. Flail is already a crazy ass weapon.
Pair the flail up with other weapons that maybe you wouldn't have otherwise used.
And again, the thing about the flail is that people don't use flail because it's just it's not a cool weapon, you know. But flail as it is already insane.
Yeah, so maybe healers and tanks, when you're going through that M1, try it out. Yeah. Those are a little more forgiving on the mutation side, and we'll see how it goes. That sounds awesome. Great. So it sounds like PvE and PvP, there's something for everybody in Season 9, so it's really exciting. We also have a new OPR map preview. I think this is our only preview in Season 9, and there will be more information on that as we get.
Oh, so in Season 9, we're going to get another preview OPR. So for Season 10, we're going to have 5 different OPRs?
Closer to the preview date. But that's not at the start of it. I think it's closer to the end. Yep.
Okay.
So, and then the other thing is we're going to have a developer Q&A that's going to come out. I think that at the end of this month, people should check Discord and the New World Games subreddit for when some folks are.
I just cooking PvP. They've been crazy with the PvP content releases. And this is something that I told you guys a while back. When I released the video, like my latest video of that I released on YouTube before I took the long break. Remember the last video that I released with a tombstone, this one right here, that I released a year ago, and then I didn't release any more content until like 6, 7, 8 months after that. So on this video right here, I said that after they are done releasing the console release, and after they're done reworking the whole fucking game, they should not have any excuses to not start developing all of the new end-game content thing. It honestly was a common sense kind of thing, you know? If the developers still had interest about the game, and the developers did not want the game to die, after them recreating the whole fucking game, and after them releasing it for the console, now all they should work on is end-game things. And yeah, man, we're gonna have now, we went from 1 OPR to now we're gonna have 4 OPR, and then on Season 10, we're probably gonna have 5 or 6. 3 raids. The arena should not stop either.
gathering the questions for that Q&A, and that's a video Q&A. I know that sometimes we do the Q&A in Discord itself, but this is the one that we film. So super excited, and I think that wraps it for season 9.
So, yeah.
Cool. So as we do with all of our developer updates, we are now going to show you our updated living roadmap.
Oh boy, here we go.
Real cool.
All right, here's the roadmap, boys. Man, we've been waiting for this for a long time. Oh, for a little bit. What are you talking about? I love the Flail, but useless alone and debuff are weak with everybody running full haste and light armor. No, I mean, yeah, you love the Flail. I'm not saying that people don't love the Flail. I'm just saying the majority of the people don't love the Flail. And the Flail is not weak. The Flail is not useless. The Flail is really fucking good. Really fucking good. You just gotta play the right build for the Flail. All right, boys. So this is what we got for the things that are coming in the future of New World right here. So this is season 9, and for season 9 it says capture the flag CFT mode. Well, those are CTF mode. These are the two ones that we're getting. Season 9, Season of the Banner. Then we're getting the Frozen Path. So basically, yeah, this is the capture the flag map 1, capture the flag map 2 down here, and then okay, no, hold on. Capture the flag map 1 and map 2. This is just saying that there is a new mode. The 3v3 arena PvP map. And then the OPR map 3 preview. So it's not going to be a capture the flag. It's going to be an OPR, meaning with the three flags. 2 new world bosses, combat and PvP updates, and artifact perks and seasonal events. All right. I'm not gonna go too much in depth on some of what this is over here, because I want to make a video specifically talking about season 9, which we're gonna go more in depth about season 9. Okay. Then we have season 10, which this is when the expansion is coming, and on season 10 we have season 10 and beyond. Oh, so this is what the beyond that you guys were talking about. I understand now. I see what you guys meant. So in season 10, from the get-go, we're going to get the new zone. We're going to get the new raid. We're going to get the procedural expedition with extraction. We're going to get endgame progression system overhaul. Next gen umbros, set bonuses, attributes saved with gear sets and customizable UI. And beyond means new weapon, raid difficulties, new PvP mode, zone up level, new hard runes, endgame reputation system, pickup wars, and crafting global storage. Not an expansion. No, it is an expansion. So basically the weapon is not coming out in season 10. Is that what it means? Season 10 and beyond? So by them not having a weapon on season 10, on release of the season 10, it basically solidifies the idea that season 10 is not going to be a paid expansion. Be honest, after season 10, yeah, it could probably be season 11. It is definitely an expansion, Chad. How come you guys don't see this as an expansion? Now, I think season 10 is a paid expansion. Nope. If it was a paid expansion, they would have added the new weapon to the paid expansion. Ain't nobody gonna pay for an expansion that does not have a weapon. Season 10 has to be a free update. It has to be a free update. It has to be a free expansion, chat. It will be a free expansion. It's a whole new zone. It should be... Chat, they're expanding the game. Therefore, it's an expansion. That is in the definition of what they're doing. What kind of technicality you guys looking at over here? It's gonna be a paid update. They're gonna have a big problem. It's not gonna be paid. Expansions you pay for, not update. Who the fuck says that? Expansions don't need to be paid. If they want to release an expansion for free, they can, and that does not change the fact of what makes an expansion. An expansion is when the world that we are playing in gets fucking expanded. Is getting a new zone, is getting a new raid, is getting expanded. By definition, it's a fucking expansion. What kind of language and what kind of comments? What the fuck you guys thinking? What are you saying? Was Embrace the Center for expansion? Yes. Yes, it was. The game is getting expanded. It's a fucking expansion. The things that we've been getting in the past fucking several months, the game hasn't been getting expanded. It hasn't been any expansion. The last expansion we got was in the Elysian Wild. That's it. Trick. A significant addition of new content, often including a new story, areas, and gameplay features, and expand upon the original game, is titled the downloadable content DLC, but typically a larger in scope than other DLC like cosmetic items or small quests. Whether you need to pay for an expansion depends on the game and its monetization model. Some expansions are sold as separate purchases, while others may be included with a subscription as part of the larger bundle. Then yes, it's an expansion. Fucking DLC, downloadable content, that could, depending how big it is, it could be considered an expansion, right? Downloadable content that is just a couple of skins for your weapon, that is not an expansion. But a downloadable content that is a new zone, a new raid, new NPCs, new storyline, new cinematics, all of that shit falls under the category of a new expansion. Paid or not paid. Again, so here's the reason why I think it will be free. One, it doesn't have the weapon. Two, if you want to bring a bunch of people in, it cannot be paid, right? And three, the game is already at a good price. It's like $70, you know? New weapon, new raid, procedural expedition, end-game progression system, next-gen Umbral set, bonus attribute save with gear. You know what I don't see here? Leveling up, chat. I don't see gear score increase. Is that in exploration? New weapons, new raid, new zones on a level territory, new harbor, influence tower, all instant content, account-wide progression, new travel mechanics, new travel mechanics. What? End-game progression system overhaul sounds like a level increase. It could be interpreted as a level increase, yes. That could be interpreted as a level increase for sure. All right, I mean, I don't think it's gonna be paid. I don't think it's gonna be paid whatsoever. And again, we're gonna get that new zone and the new raid. That one, the fact that we're getting a new raid off the rip is kind of nice. No way it's paid. It cannot be paid. There's no way it can be paid. There's no way it can be paid. Now, when people were saying no daggers, I thought that the developers confirmed that daggers was not going to be the same weapon. So what you guys were saying by no daggers in Season 10 is that we were not going to get the weapon in Season 10, but they did not say anything about not being daggers. I think it's going to be paid just based on the raid. Raid is significant developers resources. Yeah, Meta, but raid is not enough to bring people in. Raid is not enough to bring people in. In my opinion, it should be free. And I hope it's free. I hope it's free. Yeah, I feel like we get Dagger Season 10 just later into the Season 10. Probably. Yeah, maybe we get it at the end of the Season 10 when we get it with a new OPR preview. I mean, not the new OPR preview, with any of the new things that they're adding in the Beyond. Again, yeah, we don't know what Beyond means, chat. We don't know what Beyond means. I got here late, but have you noticed the background picture, new travel mechanic in front of the picture of the ship? Yes, I did notice that, Sal. They put the new travel mechanics with the ships in the background, which it makes me think that maybe there's going to be some naval travel in New World. Hopefully, right? Because new travel mechanics, we already had teleportation. The other two that we have is either flying or on ship, right? I don't think that we'll add flying. What could you guess the new zone will be? Jade thinks Vampires and Werewolf. It's Vampires and Werewolf. That's already been confirmed. That is not even a thought. It's going to be Vampires and Werewolf, and the zone is going to be below Brimstone Sand.
While I'm talking Yes. So now that you guys have had a chance to look at that, you'll see that in the in development section, we kind of split that out into what you're going to be seeing in season 10. We did that because we're really excited for what's going to be coming out in season 10, and we wanted you to get excited with us. We'll have more information obviously coming out about those specifics as again we get closer to in season 10 releases. But in the meantime, let's do the what's your favorite thing that's coming out that's in development?
I'll jump into that. I think I said it in one of the previous videos, but I really like a lot of the things that we're doing with some of the gear, and you're going to see some pretty big changes.
Oh, nice.
Some really good reasons to go chase things, not just in the new content. I think we show a new raid, right? That's not illegal for me to say.
It's not illegal.
It's good. But also making sure that there's good pieces of gear that adhere to these new systems, like set bonuses, like umbrals. A lot of the stuff is going to be upgradable going forward, so you're going to be able to go back to old content as well, like mutations across all 3, 1, 2, and 3. You're going to be able to go to Sandworm, you're going to be able to go to Gorgon. We haven't forgot those things. And we're going to be spreading some of the newer gear.
Yes! Oh my god, yes! 100% yes, dude! Yes, chat, yes! Bro, we've been saying this shit for the longest goddamn time. Every single aspect of content that we have in New World should have beast gear, right? So whenever you are building your character, you open up the gear catalog and you see what you want. And it's like, okay, the helmet, it comes from the 10-man freaking hatchery. You know, my chest piece comes from the Gorgon. My boots come from the Sandworm. My pants come from M2 Genesis. My gloves from M3 Dynasty. You know, and then my left weapons come from an artifact in this place. And my other weapon, it's a named NPC that, you know, is dropped at Mert. And then, yeah, you do all sorts of activity to get the gear that you want. And then there should be an in-game activity, a repeatable in-game activity that you do, that it gives you the resources for you to upgrade this gear that you have obtained by doing all of the activities in the open world. If you're a PvPer, you should be getting pieces from OPR, pieces from influent races, pieces from arenas. Arenas needs way bigger rewards. So we're gonna get pieces of gear from all over the world. Every single piece of gear should be a named item. Let's get rid of all of the randomly generated gear. Every single randomly generated gear, let's get rid of it. And every gear in the name should be items that are named. Right? You get these items, you finish the build by doing every single activity that you want. Every single content and every zone in New World should be relevant. Literally. Right? And then by doing the end game repeatable activities like mutations and weekly raids and arenas and battlegrounds like OPRs and capture the flag, you get that resource right there. Now, here's the thing. AGS, please, I fucking beg of you, the resource that we use to upgrade the gear, do not put that resource on motherfucking elite trains, brother. Oh my fucking god. I will hate you guys so much if you make it that the best way to get this resource to upgrade the gear is behind elite trains again. If you want to put those resources in elite trains, fine, but put them on at such a minimum amount that spending 3 hours doing an elite train, you get the same amount as doing like 1 or 2 dungeons. Because look how much content you guys have killed but making the elite train be better than whatever other form of content at gathering resources, consumables, and materials. It's crazy. Right now, as we speak, and for the past 3 years, elite trains has been the most profitable thing to do in the goddamn game. When it came to getting money, when it came to getting resources, potions, all of the goddamn trophies, and all of that bullshit comes from all of those goddamn chest runs. The hatchery, and the ice plays, and every mutation, and the dungeons, and all of the arenas that you go kill the Spriggan, and you go kill the I forgot her name, but that impression was spot on. And then, like, nobody does that shit, bro. Make those things give you badass gear. Make those things give you badass looking skin. Make those fight incredibly hard and incredibly rewarding. It shouldn't be, oh, look, I killed a pirate. I got a key to go kill. Ha, ha, ha. Then you go in there, you fight. Ha, ha, ha. You get a shitty ass box that give you 3 greens and fucking 2 gypsum orbs. And then you're like, oh, well, that was a piece of shit content. No, bro. Make that the things to go and fight one of these bosses. It's an incredible, you know, like an incredible journey. The goddamn ha lady at the end, she's supposed like the most powerful motherfucking pirate girl there is. And then you have it be defeated by 5 guys wearing underwear. And then she drops a freaking Tutti Frutti candy and a freaking pacifier. Like, get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, all of these in-game content that we have should be hard and relevant.
And chaseables into these areas as well. There's going to be a lot of perk changes and balance changes to go with that, so it's going to kind of mix up the meta and more reasons to go back, not just to the new stuff, but the old stuff as well. So players are really going to have a good time going around and seeing and mixing and matching all of these balance changes mixed with these new systems to kind of find what the new meta shakes out to be. And I think that'll be a lot of content for players.
Yeah, it's going to be good to reinvigorate.
The Siren Queen. Thank you. Yeah. Imagine the Siren Queen, bro. She has a badass arena at the end of a badass elite train. You climb a mountain full of pirates, laws, abominations with cannons on their backs, you know. And then you go and you fight this lady, which ends up being easier than the brood that you killed downstairs. And funny enough, the brood gives you better rewards than the pirate Siren Queen does. Unbelievable.
M3s and reinvigorate.
Oh, not just one, not just 3. 1, 2, and 3. You're gonna get rewards.
1 and 2 are run pretty frequently.
Sure.
3s are not.
Sure.
I think that the player experience is usually an abandoned vote in an M3. And a lot of that's because the gear chase isn't really there. The rewards aren't juicy enough, so it's great to hear that we're going to be making them juicier. Love that. And then same for Sandworm.
Juicier. Right now, they're not juicy. No. Right now, they're dry, bro. They're like spoon full of cinnamon, dry. You know, the rewards in New World right now, they literally feel like a spoon full of cinnamon challenge. You put that thing on your mouth and you're like, oh, it sucks any wetness out of you. Chat, it literally sucks any wetness out of you. That's how dry the rewards are in New World. It sucks the wetness out of you.
We're gonna get an update there.
Trick, thank you for the nice build video. Thank you, bro.
Obviously, it's much broader than that, but
Yes.
I think those are things that players have talked about, and when you play, those are things that you see. And for us to be managing that with the upcoming season and beyond, is great. I really love that.
There's
How is that bad? I like getting sucked up. Oh my fucking god.
some other systems that
I like to have the wetness sucked out. Okay, chat, obviously that was the wrong words that I said right there, okay? I did not mean it that way. I obviously did not mean it that way. Shit!
go with it that really couple well too.
Yo, Lincoln, thank you so much for the sub, dude.
Is you're going to be able to save your attributes in your different gear slots as well. So it's going to feel like there's a lot of things
Joel,
to chase.
You're only allowed to say one thing
Hey,
you're excited about.
Hey,
That's how excited we
chase
are
new gear,
about the upcoming stuff.
make mini sets, have a good time.
Yes.
It'll be fun.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Saved attributes.
Dude, the game is becoming so much better, chat. Like, dead ass, I'm genuinely fucking excited. And I might know some of you might be like, oh, Trick is coping again. Somebody go get the fucking copium helium. You know what I mean? No, it seems the game is getting much fucking better, bro. All right. Definitely sounds like they're on the right. Yes, 100%. Trick, it's crazy how KT is doing a significant better job than Scott within a year. What could should be put in charge at the beginning. We don't fucking know anything that happens behind those closed doors, chat, okay? We don't know. This is gonna be the smoldering cope. This is gonna be the smoldering cope. I remember watching Traker J. You guys have to remember that I took over Jay when he came to the copium for the hopium for the game. That must be why my wife nicknamed me Seeny Meanie. You suck the dryness out of her. I mean the wetness out of her. Not only the game is getting better, but the team in general seems more energetic, excited. Yeah. Mark my words when I say that Season 9 is going to be short. Season 9 will be short because Season 10 needs to drop in October time, chat.
I was excited for.
I think I said this last time too, like the procedural dungeons.
The procedural. Oh, Nick! With 5 gifties, baby!
Nikak gifted a tier 1 sub to Nibbler.
Thank you. We're gonna continue watching the video now because we did hold it back for like the past 20 minutes. So, all right. So here we go. And once more, thank you. Thank you so very fucking much. I wouldn't deep throw this mic and give you guys my hip thrust if it wasn't, you know, if I didn't like you guys.
Cool, because it's like, I mean, it's PvE content is really expensive to make, right? Like it takes a long time. It's, you know, we're trying to handcraft everything, and that's cool, like to handcraft content, like you can feel that, right? But at the end of the day, you run out in a couple hours, right? You play all the new content and then you're done, and then you're waiting for more content. So like the whole promise of the procedural dungeons is we're trying to keep the magic of those handcrafted dungeons that we've been building, right? But in a way that is more evergreen, like that you can just play over and over again. It's different every time, and you're trying to beat your, you know, best times and whatnot. Like, I think that'll be really exciting.
I agree. I think that's going to be really exciting.
Yeah.
Dan, what about you?
And then on the handcrafted side of things, we have a whole new zone coming, and we have a whole new raid. That's 2 technically. Sorry, Katie. But the zone in particular, I can't wait. I can't wait to start sharing. We're gonna have that team that's making it come talk to you all and share what they're working on.
Dude, that zone is gonna be so fucking cool, chat. That there you go, chat. The train just ended at level 7. You guys are the best. Love you all.
Promise.
Hey, but if you're on YouTube and you guys haven't sub, I will fucking sub. Like, goddamn. You think they're going to do a gear up scored with a release? Probably Kawaii. Probably. Honestly, I hope they do though. I really hope they do.
You're gonna love it.
Yeah.
That way everybody jumps in the brand new zone, basically at the same power level. You know what I mean? And then by the end of the zone, everybody has a bunch of new gear and new stuff that you know they've been collecting with quests and stuff. And yeah. I really hope they do an increase in gear scored and level with the Season 10 release. If they're adding a set pieces, they will have to. Right, because with the new set pieces they're adding, I wonder if the set pieces is something that the actual item itself will be part of a set, or if you make them into set. But yeah, I'm wondering if the armor, whenever you get it, it's like, oh, this piece of armor is made out of, you know, it's a set of that gear, or you get all the gears and then you can make them into a set by putting either X perk or by putting X gems and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
It's gonna be great.
It's got some of the coolest vistas in our game already. Like
some of the coolest vistas. That means the views, right?
Our game is already beautiful, and it is just very cool looking.
Nice.
Absolutely. And I think that the new AI are really exciting too. I think
so many.
I know. I think that's something that players are going to get excited about.
The new UI, I cannot wait for it because the UI, they completely kill UI whenever they integrated consoles for the game.
I think gearing up and getting prepped for Season 10 during Season 9 is going to be really important, especially for all the folks that recently purchased or purchased last October. Making sure that you're going through and getting...
Is it a full UI overhaul? I think the UI will be customizable, Zeno. I think you can customize your UI. So you can put things whatever you want to and stuff like that. One thing that the UI team needs to do, and they need to do this yesterday, is fix the goddamn visual bug with buff and debuff and separate them into their own bars. I am sick and tired of having all my buff constantly not showing up because they're bugged, and my ass thinking that they're gone, and then I consume the same consumable just to see it not even pop on it again, and I'm like, oh my god, I had it this whole time. I just didn't know I had it. And then on top of that, you cannot even see what buff or debuff you have on you the majority of the time, simply because, well, they both share the same bar, and the priority is just it's absurd. It's absurd. It is, and seeing your buff and debuff is an incredible important information, because buff and debuff, you know, it's what might win or lose you the battle. And then not scoring working on 3v3s. Oh yeah, dude, the 3v3 not working like in ages.
Best gear that you can right now, so that you can really push through at the start of season 10. I think for me, you guys took a lot of really great ones. Thanks for that. So one of the things that I do every day is I, do my dailies, I start crafting things, I make my prismatics, and I have to go through, I go to my storage shed and I have to go through a bunch of different storage sheds.
Yes, Katie, yeah.
So I'm constantly, I use Brimstone as my home base for crafting. It's where all of my, discounts are. So I always am going back and forth. I'm moving things between there. Like I keep certain things in levers, I keep certain things here and there. And so I'll always have to move them. And so what I'm really excited about, and this is something that's in development and not specific to season 10, but I just want to keep that going because I'm stoked for it.
Generalized
is the global
storage.
crafting storage. So now
crafting storage only, not gear. It's better. It's definitely a plus. That is much better than what we have right now. I mean, we don't really, like, realistically speaking, we don't really need a global storage for gear. I mean, ideally, we need a global storage for everything, right? Having a global storage for everything would be the final dream. So what you can do is just have one town only for gear, and that's about it. So you have every other town for resources, and then you have like one or two towns that is simply just for gear. I think that'll be the best way that we can go about things. That way, if you're crafting a potion in Everfall, and you have the fucking bottle in Windsward, you don't have to either go get the bottle from the storage or go to Windsward. You can just craft it from Everfall. An improvement. And we'll take any improvement. It doesn't matter how small or big it is.
When this goes live, whenever that is, and of course we'll have more information on that when we're ready to say.
But she did say that it's not coming out in season 9-10, that this is just in development.
An actual season for it, but I'm really excited.
Dude, whenever that comes out, they're gonna call it season of the storage. Watch it. Season of the storage. We're not adding any new content to the game. We're just adding global storage to the game, both for gear and attributes, and resources.
To not have to do all that work just to craft my prismatics. But yeah, I'm super excited for that. And then season 10 is just exciting. So it's essentially me just saying there's stuff like season 10's super, and season 9's exciting, season 10's exciting, and then there's stuff beyond that we can all get jazzed for.
Oh, well, realistically speaking, season 9 is not exciting. The only thing that is exciting about season 9 is that season 10 is right around the corner. Am I right? Right? There's absolutely nothing exciting about season 9 because season 9, the only thing is like, the OPRs that you guys added, which is pretty fucking cool. And you guys are probably nerfing and balancing and buffing some things here and there. Season 9 is not exciting. The exciting thing about season 9 is that season 10, it's right around the corner.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you all for joining me here. If you liked the content here, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you joining us, and we will see you in Eternum.
Hell yeah. There it is, chat. That was the season 9. Well, no, that was the July developers update. A lot of information. We spent almost 3 hours watching that goddamn video. Holy fuck. We're gonna put the whole thing on YouTube, by the way. I'm gonna take the whole thing and we're gonna put it on YouTube. There's a lot more of information that we want to cover before we jump into New World. There's some other things that I want to show you guys, including the including this right here, the Season 9 Season of the Banner announcement, which it has all of the information about Season 9 full breakdown. That was a phenomenal video, by the way. Copium hint. I mean, I understand this is copium, but I have said this all the times before, chat. We love New World. And the only thing that we, as the community, that we love New World 1 is New World to be good. If we all want New World to be bad, then what the fuck are we doing playing it still? You know? I told you guys a million times, faith is the last thing that you lose, right? Faith is the last fucking thing that you lose. And if you don't have any faith for New World and you think it's a bad game, then what is the point in playing it to begin with? Again, you know, that's me. This is from me to you with love, chat.
Langy gifted a tier 1 sub to N_Zik. Hammer4614 gifted a tier 1 sub to Rowanl90. Hammer4614 gifted a tier 1 sub to Courtesy. Hammer4614 gifted a tier 1 sub.